So you can see there are many factors that contribute to people not being able to see a stable weight loss, that is a linear weight loss during their weight loss journey. If you go at a calorie deficit of about 500 calories a day, in 7 days that would amount to about 3,500 calories, and that's enough to make you to lose about half a kilogram per week. Then it means in 1 month you might lose about 2 kilograms of body fat per month. So if we apply this principle of weight loss, then it means in 4 months you should be losing about 8 kilograms. Now the problem that comes here is that weight loss is not linear. Linear actually means something that's along a straight line. It can either be level or it can go up on an incline or even decline, but it's going to maintain the same drop or increase over time. You cannot lose weight consistently at the same rate for, let's say, 6 months. There's a point you will reach where you cannot lose the weight at the same rate at which you started with. So if we look at it mathematically, then you might end up reaching a point where you feel you're so disappointed with your weight loss, because if you try to look at how you started and how your weight loss was going, just dropping down significantly from the time that you started maybe your weight loss plan in the first 1 or 2 weeks, then this might cause you to feel like you want to give up, or you might think you might not be able to lose any further weight. So the human body is actually very complex. It doesn't work mathematically, and if we do not understand the things that go on within the body, you might not come in terms with why you're not losing weight at a stable rate. Your weight will always fluctuate. Now, the scale is what most or a majority of people try to use to try to measure or even gauge how much fat they've lost, and so they keep going on the scale and trying to check how much weight they've lost. And some people do it like on a daily basis, and some people do it maybe on a weekly basis. Your weight will always fluctuate. There's no one who loses weight without any fluctuations, whether they are professionals or even just regular people trying to lose weight. So the scale can only measure your entire body weight, including water, muscles and bones, but it cannot indicate whether you've lost fat, water, or whether you've even increased muscle. The scale can only show you how much total weight you have. So in real sense, when you're trying to lose weight, there's not going to be any time that you find your weight is being lost at a linear gradient. The only thing that will happen is that you will lose some weight, and sometimes you plateau, and then sometimes it goes up. That's like when you get water retention, or maybe you build muscle, and then the weight goes down when you lose more body fat. But as long as that progression is on a downward slope, then you should be fine and not even panic about anything. So some of the variables that can actually determine what your weight is things like water retention, glycogen retention, your hormonal balance, how much you sleep, your stress levels, or even sickness. So you could be losing fat while the scale does not show any drop in weight. Sometimes it might show maybe the weight is stagnant, or sometimes it might even show that it has gone up. And this is not something that you should panic about. So there are better ways in which you can actually determine whether you're losing body fat. The first one is maybe taking things like photos. You can take measurements of your body using a tape measure, or sometimes if you have clothes, you can see that you are losing inches, so you might be able to know that you are losing body fat despite the fact that your weight on the scale remains the same. So if you continue with your weight loss plan while keeping these things in mind and knowing that sometimes you'll not see what you expect to see on the scale, and you be consistent and be patient and continue with your diet plan or even exercise plan, after something like 6 months or maybe even 4 months, you might notice that you have been losing fat along the way, even though your scale was not indicating the same. So just to recap, the things that you need to watch for is whether you increased any muscles, whether you have been having water retention, maybe from a lot of sodium intake, whether you have glycogen retention, because when you eat things like carbohydrates, they get stored as glycogen in your muscles, and glycogen actually attracts and holds water, so that can be another thing. If you're on a menstrual cycle, the first week could show that maybe your weight has gone up, but it's only water retention, sometimes inflammation, but after maybe a week or so, your weight will go back to normal after the water retention has subsided. And also we have things like insulin resistance. So you can see there are many factors that contribute to people not being able to see a stable weight loss, that is a linear weight loss during their weight loss journey. So anytime that you see that you're not losing weight just because you are looking on the scale and expecting to see magic there. Just know that you need to use other ways to determine whether you're losing fat or not. And don't panic, just don't focus on the scale.